Hello, fellow warriors against consensus reality, lovers of truth, wisdom, irreverence, sarcasm, slayers of two-faced, hypocritical gobshites. It's a nice lazy Sunday, still morning. And of course the clocks went forward an hour, so this is the worst time where it takes me a few days to fully get used to this crap. But I'm enjoying my homemade coffee. Not too bad if I say so myself. Because when you're in lazy day mode, the idea of going out for a coffee is out of the question. And so I thought I would put out a little video. Geez, where does one start? While considering the last 2.5 years, certainly since March 2020, and when the juice agenda was brought up and perpetrated upon humanity, and we were treated like the worst kind of criminals. And I won't go into all that now. Enough has been said about it. But one thing that I found interesting, if I may be permitted to take a sip from my coffee, one thing that I noticed through all that and with hindsight afterwards, because now finally they've removed mandatory masks from public transport, buses and trains, so thank fuck, right? Finally. And, the powers that be, the police and all the rest of it, they're not being thugs and power-hungry gobshites at the moment. So one can actually have a bit of a break, a bit of breathing room. But I took this opportunity now as an opportunity into looking at this whole situation that we've all been through, and specifically regarding people and how people have changed from the very beginning to now. I'm not sure about you guys, but I've noticed that people are more cold-hearted now. They're more mean-spirited. They're not as open and as friendly as they used to be. People that always had the time of day for you before say not a word anymore. And you hardly even see them. You might have noticed that. People have become more reclusive. It's incredible. I hardly see anyone like I used to, which for a lone wolf, a monk and a hermit, that's not altogether an undesirable thing, if I may be permitted to put things into Dickensian language. But it's just strange. And looking back, I suppose it's kind of my emotional autopsy at friendships lost along the way, through indifference, through betrayal, through anyone. Go through the whole list of reasons people become ex-friends, right? Especially when you happen to come across a post by an ex-friend who basically said that he wished that I was genocided, and that the Turks were right after all, right? Won't go into the whole story now. I've said enough about that situation, but it's just one of those things. It shows you how, also with people, how easily swayed people are when those of us who have done any kind of research into Fauci and Bill Gates and all the rest of these, Klaus Schwab and all these cunts, and realised after a while what they're really doing and what's really going on. It doesn't take much. It just takes some effort. We all have, most of us, have the same functioning faculties to be able to do the research and ask the questions and seek the answers and the truth ourselves. Because you'll find that too many people rely on the guru concept, where they give away their power to someone else. They give their thinking, their beliefs, their thoughts to someone else. It could be a charismatic speaker, whatever. They might have written some interesting books along the way, and they speak on a certain topic, and so these people take what this person says without doing any real work themselves, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Although you might have been lucky for a friend who decided to fuck off for his own reasons, decided to come back and realise that, hey, he misses being my friend again. So that's always nice when that happens. But yeah, I just think that with people, dealing with people, first of all, never, ever, ever, ever compromise your own thoughts and beliefs to make them like you or to fit in with them. Damn, that coffee's still hot. Awesome. But people are going to betray you. People are going to be cunts. People are not going to have the same kind of love, respect and honour that you do. And you know what? When all is said and done, that is okay, because that's their journey. You've got your own journey. And the only person that you're stuck with 24/7 is yourself. And the only person you really need validation from is yourself. And there was one fellow I had as a friend who was kind of weird. There were times when we would hang out, go to cafes, whatever, enjoy, talk about the old days, the glorious old days, whatever, and really enjoy hanging out. And then suddenly he would just disappear and ignore texts and just not respond at all. And I gave this guy 5-6 chances. He did have a slight developmental disability, so I kind of gave him more chances than I would anyone else. But even I had enough, and I thought, you know what, Ronnie, it's time to say goodbye. You're acting the way you are. Of course, you didn't respond to my last text message. Good luck. I wish you well for the rest of your life. I really hope you don't have a lonely life. And that was it. I did see him the other week when I was waiting for a bus home. And as you do, you have a level of civility / friendliness that you reserve for most people you first meet. And how are you? Crazy with this cycling thing going on? Blah, blah, blah. Look after yourself. That was it. So, you don't have to be a cunt back when you see them out and about. You can reserve a certain level of civility. Unless they've betrayed you and then they're fair game. Right? And, but yeah, people have been weird. I've lost yet another one along the way because he happens to be an Abrahamic gobshite and never used to be, but people change, people choose to believe what they believe. And I was friends with this guy for quite a few years, and at one stage he was even my supervisor where I used to work. But once again, his ideologies and beliefs got in the way, and he said, when I was a little bit more brutal with the truth, because I just had enough, he's got up and goes, I think I'll agree to disagree, and he stuttered and mumbled his way through whatever he was saying, and we didn't really talk sense. And I try to avoid that cafe now. If I do get something, it'll be from the takeaway window, and then sit somewhere, one of my many preferred places outside. It's just the way it is. But the only person you really can be friends with first is yourself. because you're the person whose head you're in during the quiet hours of the evening, doing all that thinking, right? And that's okay. And even when you might have the worst kind of family dynamic with certain siblings whom you would rather, the next time you will see them will be when they're dead, right? And smirking at yourself as you realise that they're slowly killing themselves with alcohol. But hey, that's life. And you might get closer with other siblings, which is also cool. You know, or you might be dumped by someone whom you loved more than anything and whom you bent over backwards. Big mistake, by the way. And she ended up dumping you on the day after your birthday. But you know what? That's okay too, because we need the crucible, the lead, and the fire. So all these things that happen to us which are not positive fall into each of these three ingredient categories. And yet we are I've said it before many times, I'll say it again, we are a very stubborn species, and we need sometimes not sometimes, most of the time, the worst, most painful, most unpleasant experiences in life to kick us up the backside and get us to do what we need to do for our highest good. Yeah, I know, it's stupid when you think about it objectively, but it is what it is. We have ego might to deal with, and the happiest person, the most well-adjusted person, is a person who is in touch with his light side and his shadow self. So when someone says, oh, you know, fake guru and so-called Reiki master and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because some of us don't act like high and mighty fake gurus. If you're being a cunt, I'm going to call you a cunt. You can call someone a cunt and be spiritual at the same time. See, that's how it works. But I think I'll leave it there. I'll get into more. I really am wanting to get back to specific archetypes and questions like the deeper reasons why masculinity is being attacked, and you know, that kind of stuff, because I think archetypes and allegory is a more fruitful study now than ever before, because it paves the way for the journey within. And as always, to speak the truth is a very lonely path, but as long as it's a good coffee fueled one, I don't mind. The irreverent, sarcastic, heathen hammer wielding lone wolf on guitar, 8.